Okay, so here's a question for you. Why would you ever help a total stranger? Someone you know you're probably never going to see again. I mean, it seems like a simple question, right? But the answer is, well, it's surprisingly complex. So today, let's dive into the fascinating and honestly kind of counterintuitive science of why we're kind to each other.
And this whole idea isn't new at all. Centuries ago, Benjamin Franklin was already writing about what we now call paying it forward. The whole point isn't to pay back the person who helped you, right? It's about taking that kindness and, well, passing it on to someone else, someone totally new. And this simple, really powerful idea is at the very heart of what we're going to dig into today.
And look, this is not just some dusty old historical anecdote. This stuff happens all the time. Get this. Back in 2012, at a Tim Hortons in Canada, one single customer paid for the coffee for the person behind them. And that person paid for the next person. And this chain reaction just kept going for 226 customers. It's wild. This isn't just a feel-good story, you guys. This is a real-deal social phenomenon.
Which, of course, brings us to the big question, right? Is kindness contagious? I mean, can it actually go viral? It's a really nice thought for sure, but what does the science have to say about it? Let's take a look at how one single good deed can spread like wildfire through a network of people who don't even know each other. I mean, we've all felt it, right? That warm, kind of fuzzy feeling you get when you see someone help somebody else, or when someone helps you. But what's really going on under the hood? What are the psychological triggers that make us want to help someone else, even when it costs us something and we expect absolutely nothing back? Well, that's exactly what researchers wanted to find out. And what they found is that it looks like generosity spreads in two main ways. Now, at first glance, they might seem kind of similar, but trust me, understanding the difference between them is absolutely key to getting the, well, pretty surprising results that we're about to get into.
Okay, so path number one is something called generalized reciprocity. Think of this as the classic pay-it-forward effect. It's super direct. Someone is kind to you, and because of that, you feel this sense of gratitude, maybe a little bit of an obligation, to go and be kind to someone else entirely. You got helped, so you help someone else. Simple enough, right?
All right. The second path is what's called third-party influence. Now, this one's different. Here, you're not the one who gets the help. You just see it happen. You're an observer. You watch one person help another, and just seeing that observation alone makes you more likely to go help someone else later. It's kind of like kindness by osmosis. You're learning by example. And this diagram really breaks it down perfectly. Okay, look at the left side. Path A. That's the direct chain we talked about. C helps A, that's you, and then you go help B. That's your generalized reciprocity. But now look at path B on the right. This is totally different. Here, you, person A, just watch C help somebody else, person D. And that act of watching inspires you to go help person B. That is third-party influence.
Okay, so here is where the story takes a really sharp, really unexpected turn. Because if just watching generosity makes us more generous, you'd think the more good deeds we see, the better, right? It just makes sense. But what if that's not always true?
I mean, it seems totally logical, doesn't it? If you're surrounded by all these examples of people helping each other, it should create this powerful social pressure, this norm that encourages everyone to pitch in. But the researchers, well, they found something that completely flips this assumption on its head. Okay, just take a look at this chart from the study. It's wild. For people who only observed generosity, the more donations they saw, the less likely they were to donate themselves. Look at that downward slope. It's the literal opposite of what you'd expect. Seeing more people help was actually making other people help less. So what on earth is going on here? Well, the answer is a classic psychological principle you might have heard of, diffusion of responsibility. It's also known as the bystander effect. Basically, when we see that a bunch of other people are already helping or are available to help, our own sense of personal responsibility just plummets. We start to think, oh, well, it looks like they've got this covered. I'm sure someone else will step up.
But wait, because the plot thickens. This whole bystander effect thing, that downward trend on the chart, it only happened to the people who were just watching the kindness from the sidelines. The people who had actually received help themselves, they were totally immune. For them, that powerful feeling of needing to pay it forward completely overrode the bystander effect. Isn't that fascinating?
So is the bystander effect just like a law of human nature? Does knowing other people around always make us less likely to step up? Well, another study decided to really push the limits of this idea. They set up an experiment with a really interesting new wrinkle.
And the crucial question they asked was this: what happens when the problem is too big for one person? What if you need a group effort? In those situations where a team is the only way to get something done, does having more people around still make you less likely to help, or does something else happen?
And the way they set this up was just brilliant. They played with two simple variables. First, did the task need just one person, or did it need a whole group? And second, was just one person asked for help, or was a group of 10 people asked? This clever setup let them see exactly how the bystander effect behaves when teamwork enters the picture. And the results? Honestly, they're stunning. Okay, look at the left column here. When only one person was needed to help, being asked as part of a group made people less likely to help. Bam! That's the classic bystander effect we just talked about. But now, look at the right column. When a group of 4 people was needed, being asked as part of a group actually increased how likely people were to help. The bystander effect didn't just disappear, it completely flipped on its head.
So, what in the world is going on here? Why is it that sometimes having other people around makes us lazy, but other times it actually motivates us? Well, it turns out our decision to be generous might be a lot more logical than we think.
The magic word here is perceived rationality. Think about it. If a job needs 4 people to get it done, and you're the only person who gets asked for help, why would you show up? It would be totally useless. It's irrational. But if you know that 9 other people were also asked, well, suddenly it makes perfect sense to pitch in, because now there's a real chance that you can actually achieve the goal together.
So let's put it all together. On one hand, you've got the classic bystander effect. When it's a one-person job, having more people around can make your help feel kinda unnecessary, redundant. But on the other hand, you have this reversed bystander effect. When it's a group job, knowing more people are involved makes your own contribution feel more logical, more necessary, and way more effective.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that human generosity is this incredible, complex thing. It's not just some fuzzy emotional impulse. There's also a calculation going on, probably subconsciously. We're constantly running the numbers on whether our help will actually make a difference. We are literally wired to be most generous when we feel like our contribution is both necessary and effective. And knowing this really changes how we can think about encouraging kindness, doesn't it? We're not just passive bystanders. We're all part of this huge, interconnected system. So I'll leave you with this question. Since we know that helping is partly a calculation, how can we change the equation? How can we structure things in our own lives, in our communities, to make helping someone not just the right thing to do, but the most rational thing to do?